So much happening. Of course, the Browns introduced their new QB, and it came with a lot of tough questions.
Yeah, the usual excitement that always surrounds the Browns, it was definitely subdued. This afternoon's press conference about the team's future was more focused on his past accusations. So we brought in team coverage tonight. Brandon Simmons talked to a legal expert about why 2 grand juries declined to indict the football player. And our Emma Henderson has reaction from sexual assault activists.
But first, our sports team is here to break down what the Browns have to say about their decision.
So we're going to start things off with sports anchor Nick Camino. And Nick, you listening in on the whole thing. Coach Stefanski, GM Andrew Berry, Watson himself spoke. What did they have to say today?
Yeah, good evening, Betsy. Good evening, Laura. It was quite the day out in Berea today, as you guys could imagine. A lot of people wondering about non-football questions because this is an issue that is much bigger than football. The strange part about it was that it was a football press conference introducing your new starting quarterback of the Browns. This was the first time we have heard from Deshaun Watson. He was joined in Berea by Browns GM Andrew Berry and Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. We carried it here on WKYC. Again, this is the first time we've heard from him since that new 5-year contract worth $230 million was signed, and since the trade, all of that money, by the way, guaranteed. Today's press conference lasting over 40 minutes, and as you would expect, most of those questions not having much to do with football, rightfully so. Remember, there are 22 civil lawsuits still pending against Watson after 2 separate grand juries considered evidence involving 10 accusers. They declined to find probable cause that any crimes were committed. Watson asked about the allegations multiple times today.
I understand the whole circumstances is very difficult, especially for the women's side of the fans in this community. I'm not naive to that. I know these allegations is very, very serious, but like I've mentioned before, I've never assaulted any woman. I never disrespected any woman. I was raised by a single-parent mom who has 2 aunties who's her sister, and that's who raised me. I was raised to be genuine and respect everyone and everything around me.
All right, now, as we mentioned, Watson was joined today in Berea at the introductory press conference by GM Andrew Berry and head coach Kevin Stefanski. As you can imagine, both of them asked a lot about the decision to make this move, to trade for Deshaun Watson, to pay him the money that they are going to pay him, all of it guaranteed. Andrew Berry understanding a decision like this comes with plenty of questions.
We'll never fully be able to walk in the shoes of individuals who have been affected by sexual assault. And that is something that, we thought about a lot as we went through this process, understanding, what the reaction would be. And that's something that weighed heavily on me.
Now, there's another part to all of this, and that deals with Browns ownership. Let's bring in Al Pawlowski. Al, the Haslams, they spoke out about the quarterback today via a Zoom call. What was your main takeaway?
Yeah, Nick, thanks. A lot today going on for sure, and both Jimmy and Dee Haslam met with the media via Zoom this afternoon. We learned that this process wasn't easy, and the Haslams feel comfortable with where Deshaun is as a person. Now, we also learned that Jimmy and Dee leaned on some family members and close friends to help out with the decision, and that includes their daughters, who they met with on various Sundays to talk about the impact of acquiring Deshaun Watson. And get this, Jimmy said Dee and their daughters had full veto power over the trade. Eventually, everyone was on board with making Watson the Browns' starting quarterback.
This was really hard. This was a journey that I had to get comfortable with, and I got comfortable with it the more people we talked to about Deshaun as a person. And then I got more comfortable meeting Deshaun and having those conversations. It definitely took some time, and it was definitely a process, not just on behalf of myself, but on behalf of our family and our daughters, for sure.
And yes, Baker Mayfield did come up today. Both Jimmy and Dee talked about him. They thanked Baker for his service, adding that he gave everything he had, which included 4 great years of service to the city of Cleveland. So that's where the Haslams stand. Laura, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Al, thanks so much. We'll check back in with you again at 5:30.